This is Dr. Tiffany Lamonde, and I am going to be making smoothie bowls today from Lamonde Wellness. But first, a little disclaimer. Make sure that this is not to substitute for proper medical advice and is for educational and entertainment purposes only. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you one example of a smoothie bowl. I like smoothie bowls because it's kind of an ultra vitamin and an ultra food in a bowl, and it has the consistency more of like a sorbet as opposed to a regular smoothie, which is a little more liquidy and drinkable, like both of them. And I like the decoration on top. It's kind of a fun way to eat. But I'm going to give you sort of an idea. I'm going to make one example, and then I'm going to give you sort of the sky's the limit options to make the smoothie bowl even more exciting and to add variety. So part of the pluses and minuses of a smoothie bowl. So the minuses are you have to have a really high-powered blender, something like a Vitamix or a Blendtec. I'm not sure. I think some of the newer Ninjas have the blades at the bottom because you have to be able to use a tamper. If you don't have a tamper, you can make smoothies, but you can't really make a smoothie bowl. And you also want to be conscious of certain things as ingredients. So for example, if I were to add spinach to this particular smoothie bowl, it would turn a really yucky, muddy, greenish brown color, which if you're okay with that, go for it. But for some people, it's an unappealing color. So for example, I have some moringa powder here, which is super healthy, really good for you, and it would be a great addition. However, because most of my fruit today is a lighter color, it would look pretty gross. So you could sprinkle that on top. If you still wanted to include it, you could put it in if you're okay with the color, or you can omit it. So I have a couple of things here to show you today. I am a real big fan of trying not to let food go to waste. So when it comes to things like smoothie bowls or smoothies, you can use the fruit that's sort of questionable, kind of the bananas you might put in banana bread, or the stuff that you probably wouldn't want to eat in this moment fresh because it's kind of on the brink, but makes excellent smoothie bowls and smoothies. So this is a good example of that. Also, in general, when fruits or vegetables are getting close to the end of their edible life in a cosmetic way, if you will, it's a great option to put them into something like a smoothie bowl or a smoothie. Okay, so what I have here today is I have soy milk. You can use water, you can use any milk that you want, either cow's milk, a milk substitute. Really, if you have any dietary restrictions, of course, keep that in mind. The nice thing about soy milk is it is a plant-based option that is higher in protein, whereas something like rice milk is a great plant-based option but is much lower in protein. So depending on what you're trying to do in terms of your nutrient profile, you can influence that some with the nuts or the milks that you put in it. Another option to make something creamy without using necessarily a milk is to use raw cashews. Cashews can be an excellent creamy substitute. Papaya is also an excellent creamy substitute. So this smoothie bowl should be pretty creamy. So what you're going to do is start by putting all the frozen vegetables and fruit into the smoothie bowl. So I'm only using fruit today. So this is just frozen bananas, and if you look at them, you can tell they probably weren't in the best shape when I put them in there. This is mango and this is papaya. So this should be sort of an orangey yellow colored smoothie bowl. This clump of mango is probably a little aggressive, so oh good, I can break it up. All right. And then when I do the tampering stuff, I'm going to mute it out of the video because it is really, really loud. Should probably have a towel if you're going to handle it with your hands. Okay, so I'm going to need some milk. I'm going to put a little bit of the soy milk in, but I'm really going to adjust this based on the consistency I'm looking for. And I don't know if you've ever had a Vitamix blender. They're ludicrously expensive. However, they really are fantastic, and honestly, I use mine probably every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. So it's been a good investment, but keep in mind, they're pricey. Okay, so I'm going to start on a low setting, and then I progressively get higher. I'm going to keep videoing the actual process, but I'll mute it out when I do it on the video. Okay, so start way down here, turn it. So depending on how thick you want it, I could keep going, but it would take a little while. But I'm going to add a little bit more milk to it. So it's probably gonna end up being about a cup, and this is gonna make 3 servings, so it's gonna feed my family. This is getting pretty close. It's still a little bit thick. It's not turning out to be quite as bright orange as I might have hoped. I'm sure the bananas are diluting the color, but that's okay. I'll include some pictures in the video of some of the other bowls that I've made. Alright, so I have now made this into a super thick consistency. Like I said, it's kind of the consistency of a sorbet. And now I'm going to divide it out among the 3 bowls. And you have to move pretty quickly at this point because it will start to melt. And that's fine. It can just become more like a smoothie than a smoothie bowl. So, see, it's kind of like sorbet. It's kind of delicious. You could make this as a dessert if you wanted to. I think that's a great idea. We just tend to eat it for breakfast. Dessert for breakfast. Healthy dessert for breakfast. Okay, then I tend to kind of smooth it out. I don't know if that's more of an aesthetic thing or if it's just that I like the ingredients to be able to sit on top of it. And then for today, you can really use anything you want. I didn't put the cashews in, but I would generally put those in here unless you wanted to chop them up and put them on top. You could totally do that. So today, I'm going to do some cacao nibs. These are some, hippy-dippy, organic type thing. And I for some reason, I like to do it in kind of like a stripe. I think it looks pretty. And then I'm going to do some chia seeds. Now, chia seeds in a smoothie will make it sort of a gelatinous consistency, more like a chia pudding. I'm not a super fan of that, honestly. I think that consistency is not my favorite. But on top, I like them. They're a little bit crunchy. They're good. And hemp seeds, I'm a super big fan of hemp seeds. I think they're really a healthy option. But caution, they're a little bit of a strong flavor. So, if you don't like it, use a very small portion. And some other options, raisins, cranberries, dried fruit, any sort of nut, any sort of dried fruit or fresh fruit, like sliced bananas, strawberries, blueberries. Those are all great options. And then the last one, this is another great way to add a little bit of protein. And also, whenever you're making anything, really keep in mind your micro and macronutrients. So for example, if I'm getting, a good ratio of protein, carbohydrates, and fats. So in this, the protein is going to come from the nuts and seeds and the soy milk. The carbohydrates are obviously coming from the fruit, and then the fats are coming from the seeds and nuts. Now, if I'm looking at the fiber content, that's coming from, these are whole fruits, so it's in the fruit itself, but it's also in the seeds and nuts. And then the micronutrients, the vitamins and minerals. This is just packed with vitamins and minerals of all different kinds. It's also a reason why I encourage you not to get in a rut where you eat the exact same things all the time, because by varying, say, which fruits, vegetables, toppings that you use in these, you're getting a variety of micronutrients. I think there's a big push right now, and a lot of people are talking about macros or macronutrients, and they forget about the micronutrients. So don't forget about those. So this is just a nut mixture that I made, and it's got pecans, pepitas, sunflower seeds, raisins. It's delicious. And I'm going to make one more stripe of that on the edge. And then for today, that's what I'm going to do. But you can do this any way that you want. So if you want to come and take a look, that's what it looks like. And then the consistency, like I said, is kind of like a sorbet. It's delicious. And this will be our breakfast today. So one other thing I wanted to mention, I probably will get a question about it, is this bag here. This is called a stasher bag, but There's lots of companies that make a comparable equivalent. I happen to like this one. Again, they're a little bit pricey, but they are reusable storage bags. So if you're trying to make some eco-conscious choices and move away from things like plastic bags or single-use plastic bags, this is a great option. You can also cook in these. So for people who like to camp and stuff, that's a pretty cool option for you. But I mean, we've had these for a couple of years now, and they're still going strong. So something for you to think about. I'll find an example and I'll put in the link down below. I don't know if I got mine on Amazon or directly from Stasher, but I'll link them both below.